Hiya, thank you. So I'll just quickly introduce us because we've actually got a little team of 3 here. So my name's Liz, I'm the General Manager for Maternity and Neonates.
I'm Anna, I'm the lead midwife for the antenatal clinic at UCLH.
And I'm Gareth, Assistant General Manager for the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson Wing.
So just briefly, a bit about UCLH Maternity Department. So we're a very busy department. Anna is very busy. We care for over 6,000 women and their families every year. We're a tertiary centre, so these women are quite poorly, or their babies are quite poorly. So we have a level 3 neonatal unit, a specialist FMU fetal medicine unit, and we also do the spina bifida fetal surgery, and we're the only UK centre for that. As you can imagine, this comes with a very, very busy antenatal clinic, and we have over 60 clinics a week. So that's a bit of context, and what we're here to kind of talk to you about is this patient experience improvement initiative, which was kind of simultaneous with our implementation of EPIC, which was our new electronic patient record. And along with EPIC came MyCare UCLH, which is basically an app, thank you. So we now have 97% of our maternity patients on the MyCare app. This basically is made us paper free in that very classic term, NHS term, which means all our maternity notes can be available on their app, all of the test results. Being pregnant, especially at UCLH, is basically a full-time job because they have so many appointments. All of that appointment reminders, all of the scheduled appointments come through on the app, and basically the patient can message the clinician, so the midwives, the doctors, whoever they're under, and the clinician can do the same back. So basically, we're just very, very excited because of the fact that we've got 97% of maternity patients. This equates to around about 5,800 every month, and it goes a bit further than just the notes. So we're able to mass patient message on MyCare. This was particularly amazing during COVID. Thank you so much, which we'll come on to. And we're able to specially kind of send to certain cohorts messages tailored to them. We also are able to go, I don't know, bigger than that, send out feedback surveys to patients. Gareth is going to talk about what it meant for us in COVID.
So as a lot of you have already alluded to, the pandemic can only be described as a tumultuous time. So communication at this point was pivotal for delivering care. So as Liz already mentioned, MyCare allowed us to send out real-time updates or following a scheduled release in terms of messages for our patients. So this meant when policy and guidance was changing on what seemed like a weekly basis at that point, we could send out updates immediately. And if we had maybe a day's notice in terms of policy changes, we could schedule the release of that information. So unfortunately, as much as we would like to have it this way, but patients aren't glued to our website, and that's not the first thing they open up in the morning, but they will have their phones and they will have their emails. So MyCare really allowed us to take advantage of our patient cohort who are extremely digitally savvy and competent with our app. So we can provide better care. So for example, and this is still a hot topic, but visiting in the maternity setting was widely debated at the start of the pandemic. So in a time where patients were facing a lot of anxiety about whether they could bring their partners or family members or just support in general to their appointments, there was also a lot of misinformation floating around at that time. So we worked very closely with our patient experience group with the Maternity Voices Partnership. And so they sort of brought this to our attention in the first wave, and they told us lots of misinformation floating around. People don't think they can bring their partners to labour, or if they have reduced fetal movements, or unfortunately suffer bereavement. So we immediately used MyCare to send out a message to around 5,000 patients, I think probably more at that point, to identify what exactly was and wasn't allowed at that point. So that really helped relieve some of that anxiety at that time by keeping people in the loop. So as we changed everything, they could just refer to the latest message and understand where we're at in this phase of the pandemic. And then going forward with that, so this was maybe a week or so after that, we were starting to convert a lot of our appointments to virtual appointments and disseminating virtual resources. Again, this is pivotal for delivering effective care, and MyCare really allows us to do that. We could disseminate things like video resources. So we put together a series of videos to cover group classes that they would have received in a face-to-face setting. So those videos at this point have received like 37,000 views across all the range. So that was really important to our patients. And as we further developed the virtual appointment infrastructure, so that those include like virtual group classes, we used MyCare to send out the links to the patients directly. So on the day that they could see the details of their call, where they'd be logging in, who'd be leading the class, things like that. And it also allowed, like I mentioned before, for midwives to message the patients beforehand, so they can tell them the things that they need to be prepped for, the kind of questions that they could ask, or any other information that would be relevant to those classes. So it really helped them prep in that setting, whereas before they would just turn up for the appointment in a group setting and they wouldn't really always be aware of what they'd be looking out for, so they wouldn't know if they were asking any silly questions. Not that such a thing exists, but we really helped alleviate some of those pressures as well. So as we were changing so many things, and as again a lot of you have already mentioned, feedback was really important to us, and we used MyCare to send out targeted surveys to particular cohorts of patients. So as patients delivered, we could target postnatal patients and ask them how they felt on our wards, how they were impacted by the visitor policy throughout their care, what kind of improvements we could make, and what could we do to help facilitate better care throughout their pregnancy journey. So that gave us a mass of information that was really helpful to us. So that really helped drive forward policy changes or keeping things the same when we weren't quite sure how the patients were feeling. And then more recently, as vaccine guidance has been developed for pregnant patients, we are able to offer drop-in sessions for patients to deliver their first doses. So then using MyCare, we are able to target patients who are actually in the building on the day. So we could tell them literally just pop over to this assigned room and you can receive your first dose with a bit of information, access to other resources surrounding the vaccine, which again has a lot of misinformation surrounding it. So it's been a really important tool for us during the pandemic.
Can we have the next slide, please? Sorry, thank you.
So I'm going to really quickly talk about one of the functionalities that we've built. So it's not just an information sharing app, it's actually an interactive thing that we have with the women within our care. So really briefly, home blood pressure monitoring has been something that we've built in for the women that are at risk of having blood pressure problems in pregnancy. And so the clinician identifies the woman, and with the team, we set the normal parameters for her blood pressure within the app. That then comes up on her phone and she can input her results whenever she takes them, wherever she takes them. If the result is abnormal, it comes up with a little message that's personal to her saying, you need to come in or you need to contact for help. And as a safety net, we as clinicians in our 24/7 service will triage those results so that we can make sure that abnormal results are being actioned. Really briefly, a case study that we had, so we've had lots of really positive feedback of this, but there was a lady in particular that had pre-existing hypertension, so raised blood pressure. She was on lots of medication, but most importantly, she had white coat syndrome, which is giving you a raised blood pressure just because I'm wearing a uniform. And so she'd come and we'd do her blood pressure and it was really high, but because of the MyCare app, we could review her results from the last few weeks. So rather than jumping in and diagnosing her with different conditions or even resulting in cesarean section sometimes, we were able to look at the bigger picture, and we can actually also do this virtually. So when she did develop blood pressure problems, we could action it remotely. We could see all of her results on the system, and then she did actually have a good outcome at term. So that was really good, something we're really proud of. Next slide, please. I think this is a little video.
Oh, yes, this is a little video, thank you.
Here at UCLH Maternity, we use MyCare every day to communicate with patients. MyCare has really helped us to stay up to date and ahead of the curve regarding the modern day pregnant person, and has really changed the accessibility of the patients within our care. It means that they're the centre of their care and that they are absolutely at the front of all of their results and all of their patient notes and feedback, so they can be really central in decision making.
I think MyCare app is very useful and easy to use. I love the icon on it. It's easy for me. When I attend my appointment, they just send me the reminder and all my appointment is there.
Having MyCare has meant that patients don't have hundreds of letters with different appointment dates and times and locations, and that they're all in one place. The best thing about it is that we can communicate with patients immediately and without any delay.
My English is my third language. It's not the first language. It's easy to use the icon as well. So I can just look whatever. Sometimes I cannot understand whatever it's saying, but there's icon like appointments, blood tests. I can just get my information every time I want to check, every time I want to use it with my partner or the results I want to share with somebody else, I can just share it from there.
MyCare has really improved the dynamic of our environment within maternity services. It's added a whole new level of patient-centred care and making us more accessible and interactive with those within our care. It's been great for us as medical professionals as well. It's really great for us to communicate with each other about care and also with patients.
During this pandemic, actually, it was really helpful to use MyCare app instead of just phoning them and others, because all the information is inside there. They put, like, for example, the visiting policies, so it's there. It's available for me to go and just look.
MyCare has really empowered patients to be central to their care and also to make more informed decisions. It enables them to think about what they want to ask before an appointment, they can review their own results and also then come with a plan of what they want to talk about in their appointments with our team.
Thank you so much. We couldn't not include these nice little quotes. We've actually had the best time getting the patient feedback, which we do kind of ongoing because we absolutely love MyCare, but especially for this was so nice to do. And we have some lovely quotes here, and I would say it's kind of become part of our staff and patient normality, which is so nice. So thank you so much for listening.